Hello guys, in this video I'll be ranking every class in 99 Nights in the Forest, and I'll also tell you which ones you should buy if you want to survive past 500 days easily. And guys, even though I don't have all of the classes, as you can see I have survived more than 550 days, so I have a decent idea of which class might be helpful for you guys to survive easily. Without further ado, let's start the video. And guys, I'm also doing a diamond giveaway. To participate, just like the video, subscribe and comment your username along with why you need these diamonds. And now, let's start ranking these classes. First, we have the Alien class. Honestly, in my opinion, the only class that stands above all others for free-to-play players is the Alien class. The Alien class costs 100 diamonds, and you start with the ray gun. At level 1, you get excellent visibility at night, but you sprint slower when alien tech is overheating. At level 2, alien tech recharges faster, and at level 3, you can sprint faster when it's fully charged. The ray gun has infinite ammo and recharges quickly too. I've used this class in almost every game I've played, and honestly, it's the best one overall. And it's cheap as well. So, it's definitely going in S tier. And guys, the 1 and 2 star classes are straight up F tier. Don't even think about buying those. They're pretty much useless and only serve very specific purposes. For example, the Decorator is just for building fancy bases. The Fisherman is only good for catching fish, and the Camper class doesn't really help you survive longer either. So yeah, you can safely ignore these classes. Next up, we have the Lumberjack class. It costs 70 diamonds, and you start with a good axe. At level 1, you get a 20% chance to get 1 bonus log from trees. At level 2, there's a 25% chance for a double sapling drop, and at level 3, you have a chance to get 1 or 2 extra logs from trees. Overall, it's a C-tier class because it's only useful for gathering more wood and doesn't really affect the overall gameplay. Next up, we have the Zookeeper class, which costs 70 diamonds. You start with an old taming flute. At level 1, your taming flute levels up faster, and you can have 3 tamed animals regardless of the flute level. At level 2, feeding tamed animals restores more of their health, and at level 3, you'll need 1 less step to tame an animal. Honestly, I'd put this in D tier. It's mainly useful for taming wolves and other animals. It can help a bit with defense, but overall it doesn't have much impact on your gameplay. Next, we have the Chef class, which costs 150 diamonds. You start with a chef station blueprint and a recipe book. This class lets you cook new recipes that give players huge bonuses, and all cooked items are automatically seasoned. At level 2, you unlock a new recipe, and at level 3, you unlock another one. Overall, it's a C-tier class. It's mainly useful if you're playing in a group of 4 or 5 players. You can stay at the camp and keep cooking dishes that help everyone. But if you're playing solo, it's not really that useful. The next class is the Fire Bandit class, which costs 200 diamonds. You start with an infernal crossbow and a wildfire potion at level 1. At level 2, your other tools have a chance to set enemies on fire. And at level 3, you get a 10% chance to receive wildfire as a bonus drop from chests. In my opinion, this class belongs in A tier, since you can easily set bears and wolves on fire, making fights a lot easier. The next class is the Assassin class, which costs 500 diamonds. You start with a katana and 120 throwing knives. At level 1, you gain 10% sprint speed, but lose 15% of your health, and you also get a 5% chance for throwing knives to spawn in chests. At level 2, your first hit on an enemy has a chance to critically strike, letting you deal extra damage on the first attack. Finally, at level 3, you get a 10% chance for throwing knives to spawn in chests. Overall, this is an S-tier class. You can move quickly, save all 4 kids easily using the throwing knives, and the katana itself is extremely effective as well. The next class is the Pyromaniac class, which costs 600 diamonds. You start with a flamethrower. At level 1, you can reload your flamethrower using fuel canisters and oil barrels, and whenever you kill an animal, the drop food is automatically cooked. At level 2, fuel canisters and oil barrels restore even more fuel, and at level 3, you move faster for every burning enemy nearby. Overall, this is also an S-tier class, since you can easily take down almost all animals and cultists. However, it's most effective when you use the flamethrower against large groups chasing you. Next up, we have the new Vampire class, which costs 600 diamonds. You start with a vampire cloak. At level 1, you gain life-steal energy when attacking with any melee weapon, and you also run faster at night. At level 2, you get better vision in the dark, and at level 3, your lifesteal healing is increased. This is also an S-tier class. The lifesteal ability is extremely powerful and makes surviving much easier. Next up, we have the Gambler class, which costs 55 diamonds. You start with a random item. At level 1, you get a 50-50 chance of upgrading or downgrading standard chests when you open them. At level 2, that becomes a 60-40 chance, and at level 3, you also get a 10% chance for chests to drop coins. This class is definitely interesting. It can be really good at times, or really bad depending on your luck. So overall, I'd place it in A tier. The next class is the Ranger class. This class costs 70 diamonds. You start with a flashlight and a revolver. At level 1, you begin with 18 revolver ammo. At level 2, you get a 10% chance to refund ammo whenever you shoot, which can be pretty useful. Finally, at level 3, you start with 30 revolver ammo. In my opinion, this class belongs in B tier, since starting with a weapon makes surviving the early stages of the game much easier. The next class is the Farmer class, which costs 80 diamonds. You start with a watering can. At level 1, you can use the watering can to get rarer crops from farm plots. At level 2, some of the saplings you plant will grow into apple trees. And at level 3, any farm plot you water is guaranteed to grow 1 pumpkin. This class can be useful if you're playing in a group of 3 or more players, but if you're playing solo, it's not very effective. So overall, I'd place this class in C tier. The next class is the Berserker, which costs 100 diamonds. You start with a medkit. At level 1, your first death will trigger an auto-revive with low health and hunger. At level 2, when you revive, you receive a strength boost for a short duration. Finally, at level 3, you deal higher damage as your HP gets lower. So basically, this class gives you a free revival, which can be useful if you don't want to spend any Robux. However, since this class costs 100 diamonds, the same as the Alien class, I'd say it's not quite as good. Overall, I'd place this class in B tier. The next class is the Brawler class, which costs 100 diamonds. You start with leather body armor. At level 1, you can't use any ranged weapons, but you get a 40% increase in HP and a 30% boost in melee damage. At level 2, you gain 10% extra health regeneration and recover faster after taking damage. Finally, at level 3, you have a 5% chance to block incoming damage. Honestly, if you're good with melee weapons, this class can be great for you, but if not, it can backfire pretty easily. It really depends on the player, so I'd place this class in A tier. The next class is the Undead class, which costs 100 diamonds. You start with a bandage. At level 1, you gain a permanent bonus every time you're revived. At level 2, you can be revived instantly, and at level 3, you can move for 8 seconds after your death. This class is only useful if you're playing in a group. Otherwise, all of these abilities are pretty much useless. So if you're in a team, this class is A tier, but if you're playing solo, it drops down to D tier. The next class is the Blacksmith class, which costs 200 diamonds. You start with a hammer. At level 1, you can craft items from the next crafting bench tier up to tier 4. At level 2, you get 2 random crafting recipes with a discount, and at level 3, you have a chance to earn extra scrap from items you put in the grinder. This is a solid class overall, but since it costs 200 diamonds, it's a bit overpriced. So I'd place this one in B tier. The next class is the Poison Master class, which costs 200 diamonds. You start with a blowpipe and poison armor. The blowpipe has infinite ammo, but the reload time is quite long. At level 1, your poison effects become stronger. At level 2, there's a 25% chance for enemies to spread their poison on death. And at level 3, your attacks deal increased damage to enemies already affected by poison. Overall, it's a pretty good class, but because of the long reload time on the blowpipe, I'd place it in A tier. If the reload time was a bit shorter, it would definitely be S tier. The next class is the Beastmaster class. It costs 400 diamonds, and you start with a good taming flute. At level 1, you can summon and tame wolves using 3 steak. You start with 3 steak in your sack, and you can have up to 5 pets. At level 2, your wolves run much faster when attacking. And finally, at level 3, the first wolf you summon will be an alpha wolf. Honestly, this class is only good when you manage to gather a strong army, and to be honest, it's quite overpriced at 400 diamonds. So I would put this in B tier. The next class is the Big Game Hunter class. It costs 600 diamonds, and you start with a rifle along with 12 rifle bullets. At level 1, you can consume animal pelts to gain permanent bonuses. Basically, you unlock a list of buffs depending on how many pelts you've consumed. At level 2, you get a higher pelt drop rate, making it much easier to farm and stack those bonuses. Finally, at level 3, you can infinitely consume mammoth tusks to permanently increase your health, giving around a 5% boost each time. Honestly, this is an S-tier class in my opinion, but I think it would have been more fairly priced at 500 diamonds. The next class is the Cyborg class, which costs 600 diamonds. You start with alien armor and a laser cannon. At level 1, overheating your alien tech causes you to take damage and temporarily lowers your armor, but you gain excellent visibility at night. At level 2, your alien tech deals increased damage, and finally at level 3, kills restore some alien tech energy. Honestly, in my opinion, this class deserves to be an S tier. However, some players say it isn't as strong as it sounds. I personally think it would be worth it if it was priced at 500 diamonds instead. The final class is the Necromancer class, which costs 600 diamonds. You start with a cultist staff, and at level 1, you can collect souls from dead cultists and use your staff to summon or resurrect them, with a maximum of 6 summons. At level 2, your resurrected cultists deal greater damage. And finally, at level 3, you gain improved night vision based on how many cultists you have. Honestly, in my opinion, this is one of the best classes in the game. You can infinitely summon cultists by collecting their souls, and since their damage increases at higher levels, it's definitely worth it. So I'd place this firmly in S tier. So guys, this is it for this video. Make sure to drop your opinions about these class rankings down in the comments, and don't forget to participate into the giveaway. If this video helped you out, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.